Hi friends, Troy Price, the Hourly Flipper. I'm doing something a little bit different this time, you may notice. First, here I am in a green screen. Feel free to reuse this video as yours and share it and repurpose it. And it'll be like we're talking to each other if you use your green screen. So let's try it, okay? Oh, I agree. Yes, you are so smart. Can you tell me more? Great. So there you go. You can clip that out, put it in your own short, and say whatever it is you'd like, and I will support you. That's what I do for my friends. Instead of showing you what I purchased, how I keep organized in a way that makes it the most efficient for me to sell things on eBay. So you're getting a tour of my workspace. The extra challenge that's maybe fun for you but makes it easier for me is I'm not going to stand up in this whole video. I'm going to be in my office chair. Is that exciting? I don't think so, but it's what we're going to do for the next 5 or 10 minutes. All right? I'm going to start with the fun thing. When you go through and you're picking up things from estate sales, yard sales, and Goodwill stores, you get kind of unique, eclectic things. And I want to show you my trash can first because I feel very elevated, very aloof with this trash can. It is crystal. How many crystal trash cans do you have out there? But I keep this beside my work table. And it really is something because it's of no value. It'll go in my next big yard sale probably, but it is something I'm not going to ship because you may have noticed it weighs 120 pounds and I just lifted it with one arm. But also it's going to break being shipped. So it's something that I bought because it was cheap, and there you go. I've kept it as a trash can. What I have here, let's look around, is my work table, okay? From farthest to closest. What's farthest away is smaller items. They're smaller items that I haven't processed, but also packing slips. Oh no, I've already broken my rule and I've stood up. But over to the edge of the table, I have a box of tape that I pick up at estate sales. Below here are shipping supplies. I keep a small amount of shipping supplies. You may have seen those from an earlier video. A little bit of cleaning and other services. The tapes, which you can see, that's on the table, easily accessible. Then I have a small little picture box. I can turn the light on, and that's where I take my pictures. But mostly what I do, since I do a lot of books, is I just put them on this piece of paper. It provides a crisp, flat background, and I take my pictures right there. And for fun, I have a mirror that's back there, and it allows another angle of the item I'm trying to photograph if I get real close. I find it adds a little bit of depth and interest, and it gives you a sneak peek of what we're going to see in the next little bit, okay? And there I am, still sitting down. You're going to see in just a second why I love books. We're at a completely different angle, but I want you to see that shelf. It is a repurposed shoe rack from a closet that my wife no longer needed, so I brought it up here to put my odd-shaped items. See the plush that's right there? That there's no other place for it, so I've just put it on top there. What's inside that bag is a lot of 5 dress shirts. It's been there for over a year. Miscellaneous box items there, as you can see. Some more plush down there. See how almost in disarray that is? I could organize it more, but it's easily visible and something I can grab, wrap, and move right on. But it takes a lot of space. Speaking of space, this is something that I just added recently because I needed more space to sell items. You'll see another shoe rack, some crates, and then some bookshelves back there. You'll see those bookshelves are empty. It'll come full circle in just a second, all right? There again is that shelf that I recently added with the awkwardly sized items. I have a couple of drawers here of interest. And let's go through the drawers. The bottom drawer, you may have noticed this was a craft, one of those plastic things from eons ago when my child had this side of things. Have some purses down there in the bottom. I have some heavier things in the lower drawers. I have a Cuisinart griller that hasn't moved yet. Some miscellaneous things. And then also some odd shaped things. And you'll notice that they aren't full. I have really almost exclusively doubled down on books at these sales now and increased my inventory. I want to show you some of the miscellaneous things first before we get into the books. In these drawers, again, I'm just showing you miscellaneous things that I find for crazy cheap. Here's a tip, and then I'll go right back to what I was saying. If you're at a yard sale and everybody has, dinosaur toys, and they have numbers on them like that, or specific what brand they are, those are money, okay? There's lots of made in China, not specific items, but if they have those numbers on them or where they're made, that's money. More of these drawers with just interesting, unique things. I bought a lot of this stuff connected to estate sales when it's just fill a bag days, and things that I've just thrown in saying, well, that's better than nothing. And also, mugs, put it in there, hardly takes up any space, and you pay $5 for the bag, and it's worth it. But at least for these mugs, they sit around a while. So it's possible to make, $12 from what would be 75 cents, but they're going to sit there for a while, which is what they have. Here's a recommendation that I do have, particularly if you're starting out. I have a big bag of remote controls. If you've watched an earlier video, I talked about a practice of just adding things at the end to negotiate better prices for your bulk buy. Remotes are a great thing to say, would you just give me this since I'm paying $40 for all of that, for instance? And usually remotes bring in $6, $8. So from nothing to $8 is worth it, especially when they're so easy to ship. But sometimes you'll find remotes with screens on them. All right. Usually those with screens on them are brand names that bring a lot more, like, $20 to $40. So I try to grab those every time. Let me show you what I've got here. This is the last of the non-book items that I keep. An earlier video, you'll have seen what those are. But this is just a miscellaneous hodgepodge of things from picking up because they're crazy super cheap. And that is about half of the space of my inventory right now. Miscellaneous things that I don't really have any connection to. But the other half of my space is dedicated to books, shelves of books. It takes up about the same space as my non-book area, but you'll see they're so jam-packed in there because they don't take that much space horizontally. Nope, vertically. I guess vertically and horizontally, but neither. Tomato. Let me give you a my orientation, because there's this Dewey Decimal System that I could follow, but instead I've got loose categories so that whatever the book is, I can go to that shelf that's the category and just with a scan of my eyes, find what we're looking for. So here's what I find based on the books that I'm able to source for crazy cheap. The books that sell, for $20 or $40, I've got here in the loose categories of those books. Okay, here we go. I've got a shelf at the very bottom there for art books. And those are with the, there's a Bible there that's known because of its art, a family Bible. Going on up, I've got some books connected to general interests. And this has a little bit of history in it, as well as first editions. Above that is more so just pop culture and general interest books. It ranges from a first edition of Contact to some Harry Potter stuff. But an operations manual from Wendy's, that was pretty cool. Probably the most valuable thing on this shelf is the Mercruiser guide for Mechanics Guide. If you ever see those, they bring good money, whether they're for automobiles or boats. I have a media shelf, and usually that is about the size of my media shelf because I find more expensive media and sell them kind of quickly. Down here are a few more of those art books, but also history kind of things, and professional, because below that are some medical books and law books. What's here is, here's a caveat. On that shelf and also over here are specifically religious books. Those tend to sell, and so I've got a special area for that. That shelf, though, is something interesting, that I list books and then I don't immediately take them to exactly the shelf that they would be on. That, in essence, is my receiving area. And I just take my books and put them there. When I sell a book, I check the shelf that is there, that it should go on. And if it's not there, I look on my recently received shelf, and that's when I can pull it from there. But just when I have extra time, I pull that shelf and put it to the according shelf where it goes. And by that way, I reduce the amount of time that I work my inventory. Because if it's a book, I grab it, I come over here to my work table, and I lay it out here, grab an envelope, wrap it, and it's done going out the door. Or I bring an item here to clean it before taking the photographs to put over on the shelves. Does that make sense? I hope that does help you as you think about creating your own workspace. I could use the rest of this room for inventory space, but what I find is this is about the amount of space that I need to run an inventory that I really handle. I don't recommend going full-time with reselling because you're dependent on a lot of things outside of your control when you've got one employer. And in essence, you're your own boss, when you're a full-time reseller, be it eBay, be it Mercari, any of the other sales, you're still just dependent on the platform that's internet-based. And that's really limiting. I like multiple streams of income. So this eBay thing is a piece of what brings profit into the house. I do have a full-time job that allows me to do work that I love, and it provides me insurance. My wife loves that about my job. And then in the evenings, if I have any other time, I have some other video or audio projects that I like to work on. And I find that keeping a few things going along the time, if something dries up, there's usually work in the other domain that brings money in. So think about that, okay? I want to circle back to my big point, however, though, is, again, look at the space dedicated to unique items that are of awkward shapes. And then notice that the other half are books, but I have a lot more books in that same space than I have of the awkward items. That's why I strongly, strongly recommend finding a place where you can buy books on the cheap. I use Goodwill, and then you go through and maximize your process to reduce the amount of time that you spend to sell those items. There's your tip. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. If you like this video, I can do more kinds of tours and live shopping trips. I can do live shopping trips, that kind of thing. Let me know what you would like. But like this video, subscribe. I want to get to my next milestone real soon, and you can help me do that. So thanks so much for watching. See you soon.